We got a crowded room today. For those of you in TV land, welcome to the February 11th open session meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. And a couple things I want to talk about before we start is, that's our call to order. We have the first portion of our meeting is going to also have the Conservation Commission here with us. And I guess I'll take a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Moving second. Any discussion? I do. I'd like to move the announcements, one of our announcements, to the beginning of the meeting this evening. If that's okay with the board?
Yes.
Our new business announcements. Thank you. With that change, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Being the chair, I get to do stuff I want to do every now and again. And I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the work of an awful lot of people. And I'm going to hit up our town manager in a minute for some names, because I won't remember everybody, and I don't know everybody. I'm a relative newcomer to Ayer, Massachusetts. But something recently came out. It's a publication called Losing Ground from Mass Audubon. And you'll be hearing about this over and over again. A handful of years ago, we didn't do so well, the town of Ayer. And through the hard work of the folks involved in the Conservation Commission, the Planning Board, with the support of the people who live in our community, we've kind of moved the ball. And so if we hit the key, please, I'm actually going to ask our clerk. Can you read that for me, Johnson?
Is this an eye exam, Mr. Chair?
If not, I may have a copy with me.
I'll read it. So I got it. I can deal with it. Thank you. So the sidebar reads: Town of Ayer progress from #1 sprawl community to a model of smart local planning. In the last edition of Losing Ground, the town of Ayer had the dubious distinction of having the highest rate of development out of the 351 cities and towns across the state, primarily due to the construction of several large conventional subdivisions in once forested areas. Since then, the town has made remarkable progress from the #1 sprawl community to a model of local planning. Actions the town has taken since 2013: hired professional planning, conservation, and economic development staff, updated the town's zoning bylaw to require open space residential design as the preferred by right method for developing subdivisions, conducted a study with the Montechusett Regional Planning Commission to identify priority preservation areas using Mass Audubon's mapping and prioritizing parcels for resilience (MAPPR) tool and other conservation planning tools. Most of the parcels are within the state-designated Petapawag area of critical environmental concern. Updated its local open space and recreation plan with assistance from the Nashua River Watershed Association. Focused economic development on downtown revitalization with expanded parking and a garage for the commuter rail, and adopted a form-based code bylaw for the downtown and commercial corridors to further spur smart, attractive development in these core areas.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's really cool to read this. And also, does the Conservation Commission want to call themselves to order now that you're here in the room? Do we have to? We have a quorum.
We're not talking to each other.
Okay, they won't be speaking to each other, I've been told. But anyway, again, without going into the names of the folks who worked on this over the past, this has been a lot of work. It was happening in 2013. The zoning bylaws have taken a long time to get there. But we've moved the ball a great deal, and I just want to take a moment and reflect on the fact that this is actually pretty cool to hear. Those who've been involved now and those who've been involved in the past really should pat themselves on the back. Thank you. Next on our agenda is a discussion of the conservation restrictions, and we have a guest here. I believe it's Sally Nazer. Thank you very much, Sally, from the trustees of the reservation. I'm going to ask you to come.
Yeah. So I think there's a PowerPoint and a PDF. You need to use the PDF.
Okay.
It's safer in here.
Yeah.
This thing does what it
Usually
wants.
always is.
So, Sally, this with the open space, the OSRD, open space residential development, there is a part of it that requires a conservation restriction.
This one?
And we're looking at one now with the Shaker Mill Pond,
Here you go.
and we had one with Littleton Road recently.
This will live.
And so we've asked the trustees of the
If you schedule this for the agenda item at your next meeting, we would appear, I mean, just maybe as interested parties, but, you know, if in fact you're gonna have a zoning change, and I'm not suggesting you definitely will, I mean, obviously, somebody's gotta draft it, somebody's gotta get ready for the public hearing and all that, and get ready for the annual town meeting, so we'd like to stay involved, and I mean, you know, Mr. Shamel and Mr. Manoyan have been very gracious, very generous with their time, their insights, their advice, and I mean, you know, I think we get along pretty well.
Mr. Diskin.
You mentioned, Bobby, that you're apprehensive about going to the Board of Appeals because of the 4/5 requirement, supermajority for a variance. And I want to ask the chairman if he could look into this, but would it be helpful if the planning board agreed that this was something that they'd like to see move forward, that the planning board would endorse that approval to the Board of Appeals? I don't know if that would carry the weight or
I
not.
think I know
don't
where
if
you're
you can
going
do
with
it or
that,
not.
and I don't know the answer to that, so that would be a conversation that would have to take place.
Okay.
And you know me, Ken, I'm not embarrassed, I don't shy away from
I just don't
conversations.
know if that,
So,
I would,
Yeah.
Ellen and I need to, have a meeting about this too, but if we can move fairly quickly in the zoning change, that might
set that requirement.
help guide them to develop a proposal that will be taking that into consideration, so.
The zoning change you were considering, if I'm not mistaken, was to go to .5
Or to one, where,
Where's the T6?
or something, because it wasn't going to go to zero.
that's,
as far as I know.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Manoy has his hand in the rear, and he might be able to shed some light
I
on
was just
this
saying,
as well.
one.
he's holding up.
Oh, one, okay.
One,
Thank you.
To one what?
I'm sorry, require one parking space across the road. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, through you.
Per unit,
For you, if it's
regardless of the number of bedrooms.
And that's really in the form-based code, perhaps just in the T6.
We still end up in a
It doesn't make
situation
any
where
difference if it goes to one.
it still makes it a situation where a waiver would be needed.
It still would.
That's
right. Yeah, exactly.
That's why I'm going down this trail.
Yeah, but I don't know we're gonna solve the problem right now.
Okay.
Actually, I would recommend that we
I'm-
put, we
I'm
have
gonna
an
ask-
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
we have an agenda item where we have a roundtable discussion of what the parking standards should be, and Alan
Did
and I
invite
can
Alan
discuss
and
it.
you guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I
This-
just
this
ask
is,
one quick
There are
question?
various considerations as to .5 versus 1,
Versus
Mr.
zero.
Chairman, can I just
Right.
ask one quick question?
Please.
Were you talking about maybe just having a zoning amendment, or the possibility, kind of like blue skying it, just on T6 in that area?
To be honest with you, Bobby, I don't
Yeah,
know
we don't.
the boundaries on that conversation right now.
All right.
This is information that's somewhat new to us. I know you've been speaking with Mark and Alan
Yeah.
about it. It's important that you come because I think the board members need to hear this. As I was saying the other day, we have a new zoning bylaw. We've done a lot in this town, but you can't think through everything that's going to come down the road in the future.
No.
And, here we are with a great bylaw, and look what we've got. A question about whether or not its applicability in this situation. I think we've laid the issues on the table. If there's any ones we haven't picked up, I'd appreciate if you think of them now or think of them in the future, by all means communicate with Mark and with Alan about it. We are fairly, I don't want anyone to misconstrue this, we do not meet outside of this meeting room, but we do have inter-member conversations on a regular basis.
Which is fine,
And we spend time with Mark and
because you
Alan.
got a 5-member board, so
So,
two
yeah.
people talking isn't a
That's usually
violation
one-to-one on the
of the
phone.
open meeting.
But I appreciate you coming in and talking about this.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, and
I will ask Mark and Alan to, as they work on this, to keep you guys in the loop.
all right, thank you.
I think everyone's interested in seeing what we can do with the downtown area. And I think the board's been willing to listen.
No, you've been very gracious, I appreciate that, appreciate the time. Would you be thinking about having an agenda item next meeting on this?
We're gonna have a conversation about that. We'll
Yeah, we'll
let
see.
you know.
Okay.
I understand
like
you're
enough.
probably traveling, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah, I'm traveling tomorrow, but
Yeah,
I'll be back.
okay.
You're already at a two-page agenda now.
Which is,
Already two
they just tell
Already
me,
at 2 pages.
they just tell me what I'm doing, Bob. I don't have to put on it, okay?
Feeling a little sick.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
You wanna get your,
feedback.
yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, this brings us along on our agenda
I had
to site plan review for 41 East Main Street. Do we have anybody available for that?
Yes, we have.
It's been such a busy meeting, they've been standing in the hallway.
I have a few preparatory remarks to set the stage for their description. so-
If you will, I'm sorry, Mark,
Yes,
we don't have to open a meeting for this, this is more of an
No, this-
informational thing. I
correct.
just want to get that
This
out in
stage.
front of us all.
No, it's
Yeah.
not here.
Right. Okay, I see they have a bit superior markup than what I did with the magic markers I had at my disposal. But I just wanted to give an overview of the previous approvals and status of the property. So 41 East Main Street has been somewhat challenging property that has undergone review by the Board of Health and the Planning Board from 2016 on. And in your planning packet, you have a project summary that I actually asked Neil Gorman from David Ross Associates to put together for the last time this case was before the planning board. And that
You're not going to
timeline,
rely upon my memory, are you?
that timeline describes every time this property has come before the Board of Health or the planning board in the last few years. That could be very useful information.
Is that the letter from January 23rd?
No, it's the
No,
last
no,
page.
keep
Your
it
your first paper, clip in your
It says
hand there, Ken.
project
It's the last
summary.
page. They clip in your hand, that last page. There you go.
Yep.
And what's-
Okay.
One set of paper clips is from the applicant and one set of paper clips is from the town.
Thank you.
So
Bring
again,
it
the
out.
property in question is 41 East Main Street, which has frontage on East Main Street and also is bounded by Pond Street and Oak Street on either side. Property was most recently reviewed by the planning board in March of 2018, at which time there was a determination that a breezeway connector between the existing Taft House and the proposed multifamily units was needed in order to meet zoning. Back in May of 2019, they came in with a site plan amendment, which was quite minor, to incorporate the area that has a garage on it into the lot and to do a few other minor things with the stormwater management. Due to its location in the Aquifer Protection District, the development of the site also requires the granting of a special permit under the provisions of that district. Back in 2016, the Board of Health issued a special permit. At that time, they were the special permit granting authority. Now the planning board is. So the planning board does receive input from the Board of Health on aquifer-related issues. The new owner would like to develop the site in a manner that allows the existing historic Benjamin Taft House to be preserved. And this house is one of Ayer's most distinctive properties. It goes back to 1888, I believe, and has a long, very fascinating history associated with it. We've met with the new owner several times, and we are behind any effort that would preserve this historic building and allow for economic development of the site. Now, the new plan, though, based on informal discussions that we've had with the new applicant, has elements that the planning board needs to determine either rise to the level of an entirely new site plan or whether it's an amended site plan under what was approved in 2018 and 2019. There's no hard and fast guidance in the zoning bylaw or probably in state law that says something over this square feet becomes a major site plan and something below that is a minor. It's somewhat subjective, and so that makes our job a little more interesting. Complicating matters a little bit is back in October of 2018, the definition of lot frontage was amended to state that quote, "For setback purposes in the case of lots fronting on multiple streets, the front yard shall correspond to the street with the longest frontage, though vehicular access can be obtained via either the front or side yard lot line." So back in 2016, when this site plan was initially approved, there was really no distinction between what was the front lot and the side lot and the rear yard. So, they developed, this proposal with a unit that was within 25 feet of what is now the rear lot line. So the question is, if the planning board determines that this is a new major site plan.
I don't agree with what you just said. That's not correct, is it, Neil?
Well, under the previous, I'm Neil Gorman from David Ross Associates. This is Mr. Rick Curtin.
Frontage, I believe.
Until you changed your bylaws,
Right.
they changed the definition of what a rear property line is. Prior to that, this site would have not considered to have a rear property line. It had 3 fronts and 1 side.
Yes.
But in your calculations, you used the street on what's it, Oak Street? For
Yeah,
frontage.
well, if East Main Street is
Because of the table,
official
it's like
front
that.
yard, official frontage, then this by definition becomes the rear yard.
The new definition.
The new
No, the
definition.
definition, yes, but Mr.
Because
Liston
that was
asked me about the
amended,
previous.
that was amended in October of 2018. So, I have a letter to town council asking what the implications are of that change to this property. And I have not yet received a response, but I requested a response as soon as possible, the very latest next week. So we will know soon, but I just wanted the board to be aware that the issue of the rear setback is something that we need to consider and get an opinion from council on.
So, excuse me, what you're saying is the new building is within 25 feet of the rear lot line?
Correct.
Thank you. Okay.
Correct. Also, we have, since, as part of our bi-monthly land use meetings, we had DPW and the fire department give us comments on the proposed plan that you see before you. Those should be in your packet as well. And the fire chief is of the opinion that this one-way access road that would serve the development needs to be 20 feet wide instead of 12, so that's something. Also, they were kind of skeptical about the ability of a fire truck to access Unit 5 as shown, so that's something that needs to be discussed. And also, I wish I had caught this a little earlier, but the one-way street that exits onto Oak Street, or the one-way drive, is within 10 feet vertical of Prospect Street that comes in here, and that's something that our DPW
That's a
engineer has
concern.
flagged. So that's
Yep.
something that we need to discuss. So no matter what the board decides tonight, I think the first order of business is to decide whether this is a site plan amendment or a full site plan, and that has implications in terms of a butter notification and also the setback. But what I'm proposing to do internally is, once we get through the meeting tonight, is to have an internal meeting of the planning department, community development, public works, and fire to work out details of this that would meet our current zoning. So that's what I am proposing to the applicant and his engineers, that next week we have a meeting to address the comments of the DPW and fire department in order to, come up with a plan that meets their concerns.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, Mr. Vance, yes.
So if the first order of business is that we have to decide whether this is substantially different and merits a new site plan versus an amendment, would you walk us through the things that are different and
I would.
or Neil?
If I may,
Yes.
if I may. So I'm a little troubled. And I'm troubled by, I did read the comments from our town engineer, and I did see the memo from Chief Pedraza. And in some ways, both the issues that they have raised are going to take some work to overcome. And by you saying to me that you want to meet with the proponent to, okay? So here we are, we have 2 out of I don't know how many department heads' comments. What are the department heads? So it's almost as if we have the cart before the horse. You're asking us, the board, to make a determination if this needs to be a brand-new site plan or a amendment to an existing site plan. I know you and I have discussed informally, Mark, my concerns about it. I'm gonna lay those aside for right now. But I'm gonna ask the board right now a quick poll. And that is, DPW says it's not gonna work. Fire chief says it's not gonna work the way it is. Do we have enough information to make a determination tonight? With that, I'll just say that I'll lay it on the table. Is it a brand new site plan review or is it an amendment?
Right. Well, Mr. Chair, I think since we have the applicant and his representative here tonight, I think it would be good to hear from them as to the history of the development of this, and that might inform the board to make a better decision. So.
May I? Okay. I'll try to be as brief as possible and make it a long night. So I've made a couple extra full-size prints that we can share.
These we can touch and they won't change screens on us?
No, I don't know how to do those things.
I can try.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, it's
I
still
want to
there.
see what's been approved by.
Does anybody in the audience need
Still have
to?
to bring it.
Of course it is. Neil, do you have the currently approved plan
I do.
with you?
See that? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I brought it to
Is that
this is
the
probably
one I
easy to read.
Is that on the back?
No, I got it here.
Okay, good.
I tried.
So,
Because if I remember correctly, and this has been a project that's been back and forth. I mean, we start with April 2016, but this property has been in consideration, I'm guessing, for close to a decade, if I'm not mistaken. For
yeah,
different
I know
reasons.
the previous
Yeah.
owner was in discussions for a couple of years before he came to us in around 2015, 2016.
exactly.
So he was talking about it in the early 2010 or so about what to do. So this is the colored up version of the plan that was currently permitted. So what was,
Whoa, wait a second. That plan is not permitted. I went to the building department at least 6 times to try to get a permit for that plan right there. And the last time I went in there, he says you have to go back to the planning board because you don't have the parking.
oh,
So-
Rick, wait a minute.
Now, I'm just talking about, where I stand
I know,
in terms
I-
of. Go ahead.
You're incorrect on that part, because we had 2-car garages in every one of these
Oh,
units.
the original plan.
Correct, that's what I'm
So
saying.
I'm going to, time out.
I'm sorry.
Time out. You have an approved plan in front of you. No building permits have been issued.
Right.
Correct.
So we'll talk about plan approval
Yep.
and permitting. They are different tasks done by different groups.
Correct.
So this is an approved plan. So
Through site plan,
thank you.
which was the original dwelling here, an existing garage being kept, building 4 new units. There was parking for, this existing building was currently 3 units, going to be reduced to 2 units. So there was enough parking for 1-car garage there and then 3 other additional outdoor parking spaces. The 4 newer units that were part of the previous approval, each had a 2-car garage with 1 driveway serving 2 units and a second driveway serving 2 units. So that was the original process.
That is where we ended up after.
That's where we ended up.
Yes,
And then
with the
Mr.
last
Curtin had bought the property.
Yes.
So, he had a slightly different footprint of the dwellings. They actually made them smaller than what was previously approved, which reduced the ability to have a 2-car garage to a 1-car garage in each unit. So therefore,
He changed the, you said the building itself, or are you talking about the fact that he eliminated the decks? The building looks like exactly the same size.
I believe it's a little bit smaller. What your overall, it's this, the original one was 88 by 40. And yours is now, Rick, I don't have my scale with me.
36 by 22?
36 by, so the same length, but they're narrower this way.
Shallower, okay.
Okay? So anyways, he's gone to 1-car garages. So by doing so, we've reduced the 2 driveways serving the units. They're still permeable paver drivers, just like we originally proposed. And to create outdoor parking, the units were moved forward and a access drive was created behind the units so that we could meet the requirement of not parking in front of your garage for your extra space within your front offset, which is your bylaw. So we got the parking spaces behind the structures, so they are no longer visible from East Main Street. And added one more garage in the back to service a 5th unit here. So the existing 3-unit would be 1 unit, and then 5 new units. The existing garage and 1 new garage. The idea of the access way was simply trying to allow the tenants of these areas or to get into an outdoor parking space for their second space. Given that we are fronting 3 roads, which we're very close to the road, I think it's about 75 feet to the middle here. I mean, across the front is only 180 feet. So I know the fire chief is saying he wants to get his fire engine in there, but I think a fire engine can reach all these units from any of the 3 roads that are already in existence there. So I know he wants this to be a 20-foot wide right-of-way, but at the same time, we're trying to keep it residential looking and keeping it more looking like a driveway, not so wide. We don't want to create a shortcut for everybody looping around because this is a one-way street. So this Pond Street is a 2-way street, so you turn in here one way and then you outlet on a 1-way street. And the big question comes up is, I was scanning through the bylaws after I read all their responses from DPW and the fire chief. Under the previous bylaw that the approval was issued, I don't believe there was an offset from an intersection to an access drive. Maybe I missed it, but I don't think there was a 75-foot definition of that access drive to another intersection. So again, we were seeking to go under the amendment so we could stay within the spirit of the original bylaw that we were working with on the project. So that's why I didn't even think of the 75-foot offset here. I knew I wanted to be 75 feet from East Main Street or as far as we could, and we are actually as far back as we can. And then I know your new bylaw has all sorts of new configurations for parking offsets to property lines and structures. There was some in the old one. But the definition of an access way, I guess, is a new definition as well. So we're kind of caught in the middle here of applying the old bylaw prior to 2018 under the original approval as an amendment. If we get kicked out of that, then we're going to be kicked into the new bylaw, which then throws a lot more wrenches into the adjustments that would have to be made, where we're still doing 6 units, we're not gaining any units on this. All that's really increased is some impervious area, which we're still within the 50-foot of open space in town for this zone. And our drainage system that we have proposed for the increased impervious area has upgraded or improved our drainage analysis, whereas before we were just barely meeting the pre versus post-construction numbers. We're now, because we're collecting all of this driveway runoff and putting it subsurface into a Cultex system with a catch basin and a hood and all that information, we've actually brought our numbers significantly down when it comes to drainage. So even though we've added some impervious, we believe that the design with the drainage has actually improved what was previously approved.
And the drainage that you're recommending with this has actually been submitted to the DPW also?
We have submitted all that. His comment said he hadn't reviewed the drainage. But
I didn't know if he hadn't reviewed it because you didn't submit it or he hadn't reviewed it because we all have a limited amount of time in our lives.
Right.
I'm not throwing Dan under the bus at all.
No, neither I am not. But on the back side of that plan that you have in front of you, it does show the drainage features that we proposed.
Those are the lettered yellow features, if you will?
That's right.
The yellow areas.
Those are the same, by and large, as the ones that were before? Same locations, or?
No, they're new locations, same type of system, which is the Kolchak chambers subsurface. We have beautiful sand and gravel out here with 2 minutes per inch percolation rate and no groundwater within, 10 feet of the surface. Again, the driveway would be drained or pitched so that all goes to a catch basin here in that driveway, not out to the roads. And that solely goes to this feature. All the roofs would be collected by a gutter system that would go to this Kolchak system here. So again, our drainage analysis was proven to greatly reduce the pre versus post, what they call CFS numbers.
With the addition of the access road and the parking spaces, is there going to be any concern about, and this is going to end up in our laps as the special permit granting authority for the Aquifer District. I don't know offhand, and I haven't spent a lot of time on this plan, but is there a requirement for oil separation? I know it's not interior to the building, but is there a requirement for surface contaminants?
So the catch basin in the driveway, which will receive the sheet flow from the access way and the parking spaces, will go into a catch basin with the oil separator hood, which then can be maintained. So just the dirty water goes to the Kolchak system, and then this would be properly maintained.
Is this being proposed as a homeowners association, condominium, or a rental property?
Condominium.
Thank you. So that would be a necessary part of the condominium's documents that they understood they are on the hook.
Yeah, and we submitted with our drainage analysis an operation and maintenance plan for all the drainage features that are involved.
Thank you. Because we had a large discussion about, I may recall, trash and runoff the last time. Okay.
And then again, these are still the permeable pavers, which are just for driveway access to the garage spaces, which is, again, another low impact development stormwater feature that works nicely with this particular site.
See, originally, this was the plan that you approved. This was SADAT submitted this to you as his architectural plans. 3 stories are not allowed in the zone.
We don't see architectural plans. There's a misunderstanding.
Did you follow me? In other words, why I didn't stick to this original plan was that, I would have just been happy
We
to.
never saw that plan. I know the zoning, I wouldn't have approved that plan. It never came to this
Well,
board.
that's the one he
That's what
gave
he
you.
was turned into the building department, but it never went to this board.
Right, but you understand that this plan that he has is that the 3 stories aren't allowed to be built in the zone.
Sorry.
So that's why you put us
Sorry.
back to square one.
Who is he?
Mr. Sada,
The original owner.
you say this.
Thank you.
You can't build 3 stories.
Yeah, we had that conversation.
We've known all that stuff.
Again, Mr. Curtin's gone, he's had numerous meetings with Charlie in the building department, and with Mark and Alan. Again, when he bought the property and realized how much this would have to be modified and brought up, upgrade with certain building requirements, it almost made sense to take it down and just build 6 new units that are uniformed and meet their requirements. But after meeting with Mark and Alan, they agreed to keep the old building because of its historic nature in town. So, and then to blend in the new development with structures, similar in style.
So to read between the lines, in order to sprinkle the Taft building and to bring it up to current building code, is the expenses you're talking about. Among other things,
200,000.
adding the fire suppression system. I imagine upgrading plumbing, upgrading electricity. I don't know what's in the building, so I can't even begin to think.
It's a labor of love bringing that building back.
Okay, thank you.
Good bones, but so again, being someone that's in real estate, that was a balancing act as to cost versus making ends meet. So he went back to the drawing board, trying to keep it in the spirit of what was originally proposed, with making sure they're all connected, providing the proper parking, hiding the parking from Main Street so it's not visible for the character of the neighborhood, trying to keep this looking more like a driveway rather than a road, so that people wouldn't cut through there. And this connection here also allows the sprinkler systems to run through all the structures together. We can tie into the utilities out on Pond Street, because Oak Street was recently paved, so the access to the utilities on this side is more feasible, rather than going out into the state road. So he's looked at it from a lot of different angles. He's actually brought in, they've asked us to put together a planting plan. So this plan also shows some green areas in front of the buildings.
Neil, who's they?
I'm sorry, Mr. Archibald mentioned that it would be nice to have.
Well, the new site plan requirements would require a
Right, yes,
landscape plan,
that's-
but in the
that's
past, it
right.
wasn't.
Yeah,
So-
correct.
He's,
Upside down.
okay, sorry. Mr. Curtin had put together just some images of the different landscaping features that would be added to the site. So in the front here would be a couple of cherry blossom trees, an elm tree over here. There was a beech tree in the back here that came down because of its health, and he's proposing to replant one beside the house here. We can't plant it right in the same spot because that's where our drainage structure would be. We don't want the roots to get into that. Some rhododendrons in the front of here, and in front of each of the units, there'd be perennial gardens in front of all the units as well, trying to, you know, meet those interests as much as he can. So, again, the basics is still a 6-unit property. It's just a slightly different layout and the creation of the access way.
May I ask, what's the total square footage of the buildings on the property now?
On the property now,
And how does that change versus the previous one?
so the previous proposed buildings were we had about 2,000 square feet for the existing dwellings, decks and the porches. Existing garage was another 388, which was this larger garage here. The smaller garage,
It was like 200?
200, and then there's the gazebo. So,
No, I'm talking about the plan that was approved by the planning board before
Okay.
with the 5 units and the Taft building
yeah,
and the breezeway. Do you have any idea, any way of
Yeah,
how
let me
that
just-
was?
yeah, let me just see where I am.
It's 35, 25. It's like 6,000 square feet.
6,000 square, Mystic Discount has the...
Okay, great.
And the current, the new, with the Taft building, the 5th unit being added in the middle and the other 4 buildings?
Would be a total of,
So it was.
just trying to break out the different
Yeah.
things.
It's 2,000 for the house. 39, it's about 6. It's a little under 6.
So it's roughly the same square area covering the ground.
On the buildings.
On the
building-
buildings, excuse me,
Building
on the
footprints, right. The
Exactly.
increase in the impervious is the road.
So what, yeah, and the reason I'm asking this is, so basically, as I see the question, and by all means, Mark, feel free to correct me, and any one of the board members would be great. So you're asking for, does it need to go back to the square one for site plan review? Or does it need to be, or can it be an amendment? And there's a couple things involved in both, but I have a feeling one of them is a butter notification. If it's an amendment, I'm assuming a butter notification is not required.
Correct. But a full site plan would be.
But a full site plan would require a butter notification. We recently had a project before us that has had a huge amount of airtime, if you will, here in town, the fire station. And the request was, can we please not do the abutter notification? And I'm going to drill down on that now with the board because we responded in the negative. So one of the things that we've been hearing from our townsfolk is abutter notification is a very important piece. This is a central part of our town. It's very visible. We all know where it is. We all know where the tree was. But, you know, I would ask the board to think about that. We want to go ahead and say, adding a structure in the middle, putting a drive lane in, adding, I think this personally materially changes the look of the project.
May I
If
ask?
the-
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Frankly, if this is not a substantial change, I don't know what the word substantial means. I'm just gonna lay it out there. You have a new road, a new structure, and there's a significant number of issues that have been surfaced already. This looks substantial to me.
may I ask though, if, we understand that there may be a butter notification. We're already notified the abutters for the next meeting anyways for the special permit of the Aquifer District, which we understand, that's understood. I guess our second half of that question is, if we notify the abutters, are we gonna still be falling under, say, substantial changes, but under the previous approved bylaw that we were originally under the approval, are we gonna be held to the new bylaw? That's where it gets a little...
Yeah, and that's where we need the opinion of our legal counsel.
Okay.
What I provided...
And to be honest with you, we had that conversation
Yeah, okay.
last week
Yeah.
when this was coming to us.
Right, I
said,
provided her the-
really, can you just ask the question, please?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I do the mathematics really quickly, and we did come up with roughly the same coverage, I believe, but it's another building. Whether or not it's the same square footage covering the property, there are folks who live next door to that who are going to have another building in their view. So is that a substantial change? I don't know the answer to that, but is that a substantial change?
I would want you to notify them.
So, anyway.
Absolutely.
With that being said, so.
Right, and I know this was, you might think it was premature that I brought these guys in here tonight, but I think this the complexity of this site illustrates the need to have a conversation before they perhaps formally submit. So, I think it was worthwhile to have this discussion. And
See, you have to understand, it'd be so easy just to tear the house down. But I've been asked not to tear the house down. And when I came into town,
I appreciate
the
that.
people in the town said that, when the development office said, would you please work with us and restore this thing? And then we had the backyard parking restriction. In other words, this particular, if I was smart, I would have built this plant, but it could only have 2 stories. So what it would have looked like is you would have had a 2-car garage under with a second story over it. That's all that's allowed in the zone. And what that would have, I wouldn't have done that, because what that would have looked like in the neighborhood, I wouldn't have built it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's why I'm here trying to I'm standing on my head trying to get this house to make it all work in terms of the 200,000 that I gotta do to sprinkle that and to bring it all up into a single family. I'd be happy to move the front, the number 5 units, which is in the back, to the front. If the fire chief wants me, that's doable. Okay?
What I would refer to as a new unit in the middle. Pull the
new
Number
unit
5,
right and make
exactly.
it right flush with the front of the house. But where am I gonna put the second car parking? That's up to you guys. If you say, well, we can't approve your parking scheme, then I can't do it. And it's as simple as that. No hard feelings.
I appreciate that.
We're all big boys here, but the parking, the rear yard parking, it's the law of unintended consequences. So where do you put the second? You can only do a 2-car garage under, and you can only do 2 stories. You can't do 3 stories because it's gonna look like hell if you do, but yet you can't park in the back end. So I've been here since June. This is really like a Twilight Zone episode between what you need to do and what, I mean, we drew this plan originally. We had the architect drew this plan. We paid an architect $7,000 to draw. When we went in to submit to the building department, he says you can't do a 3rd story.
Check the code.
I said, you can't do a 3rd story. Yeah, just in this zone. There's the ones down the street have 3 stories. I said, why
The
can't
only place
you
you
do?
can do it is in the downtown physical.
Right, so we found out that the hard way, but that was the architect's help. But God help me, whatever you guys can come up with for me to save that house, I'd be happy to do it. And I promise you, I'm not gonna make a lot of money in that project over there. But everything's market time, and I can only go so long other than just to keep it as a rental 3-family and move on. So next time, come up with some ideas for me. I'd be happy to listen to. I've been listening to everybody else here. Alan in the back, Mark, we've been, I'm trying to be all ears to you folks here and save that Taft house and bring it up to the way it is. Other than that, I don't know what else to tell you.
So, other questions?
Just a couple of clarifications. So, Neil. Yes. And Mr. Curtin, the reason this mathematically works out is because the large decks that were in the original proposal and shortening the units brings it back down under the number to keep it at 50% open space. So you can clearly see they come in at 50.5%,
Which is very close to
serious work to make that happen. So basically, you're gonna walk from that little proposed parking lot in the back, around this walk, to grade and just step on the deck and walk in the back door if you feel like it. But I do have a question. You've got a front porch that doesn't show any stairs or a walk to the porch. I mean, how do you get to the, you're just gonna walk off that pavement into the little porch?
Oh, this is a front porch.
I show it showing, but I don't
I've
see
got
any.
the plans are here, I could show it to you.
I got it, okay.
Yeah, the building plans. You're talking about the
Front porch on the unit 5?
No, the front porch on the 4 units,
Yeah, there's a,
hanging out on the lawn.
no, there's a,
There's gotta be a walkway to get from the, and a set of stairs or something, which would change your 50%. Well, maybe you can, that's what I'm asking. Neil, can you get from the end?
Well, you can get from the end right to the driveway, but I understand
the
your
front of
question.
the
Yes, okay. Yeah, so
so they have a doghouse entrance.
if there's a
Yeah.
setup like that, which you just showed us, you're gonna have to walk around that doghouse to get to the front door.
Okay.
So we'd have no walks shown there to do that, from the driveway to the house.
Yes, there is, yeah.
There is?
Oh,
No,
they're
you're saying
they're
that-
from the rear, there's rear access, so they go out their back door,
Yeah,
to
there is-
access, there's a
Visitors
walkway.
gonna come in, so they're gonna drive, park in that thing, and they're gonna wanna walk in the front door.
And
There's gotta be a walk.
Mr. Diskin's point is you would end up walking across the lawn
Yeah.
to get to the front. There are no walkways drawn on the plan.
Yeah,
Saying there's no walkways to the front doors.
Oh, in the
Exactly.
front, right.
right, so there's
And
no.
that is gonna increase the
that could
impervious
change your
surface.
Impervious, pervious, whatever it is, but I'll give you my opinion on this, and I wanna thank all you guys for coming in tonight, okay? Mark, you did exactly the right thing, I think, by bringing all this before the board, because we know it's been a long and contentious proposal in town. But I would, I'd be willing to work this out as an amendment if we did have the abutter notification and the abutters were on board, as well as the professionals in town. But I'll go with whatever the majority of the board decides, obviously, but, that's just my own personal opinion, if it works. But, and I guess we could discuss whether the abutter notification for the aquifer protection
Do
is
you want to make a
legitimate.
motion, Mr. Diskin?
Does this need a motion at this point?
Is there any more information that any other questions or any other more information that would be germane at this point? I'm sensitive to, we've got more on the agenda this evening and
Yeah, okay. So,
So, if I may, what you're saying,
Go on.
Ken, is instead of declaring a substantial change and having a new submittal, basically is the interest there to see what bylaw we're under? What vintage
no,
bylaw?
my thought was, and I'll tell you what swayed me a little bit, was the landscaping plan, okay? If we can, I'll make a motion that the planning board can accept applicants' request for an amendment to the existing site plan approval with a condition that that amendment include a butter notification and a complete landscaping plan and recommendations that match up from our professionals in town,
department heads.
department heads in town.
Can I just ask one question in regards to that? Being sitting in with the different departments and knowing what their concerns are, I don't know if we can get to that solution and make that motion without knowing the solutions to those.
I don't care what they are right now. I'm assuming I haven't seen them yet. I'm assuming that I'm gonna get them in the future and it'll work in the future. That's what I'm saying.
I believe what Mr. Diskin is saying is that there is a solution out there, we don't know what it is. But in order to answer the question now,
I just worry that those solutions to those, their concerns will substantially change the plans again, is what I'm saying.
So, to that question, if I follow the way this works,
Well, it's all new territory for us.
I'm getting there, not that new anymore.
we've got 3 in a row, they're all brand new this year.
Woo!
Congratulations, guys.
Okay, so if we went with the amendment, with the conditions similar to what you're saying, my understanding would, I'm actually gonna ask a pre-question.
Please.
Before the other department heads agree, say we go with the amendment and then we're in the site plan review amendment process, and we hit a point where we can't get.
I don't know what the
I'm gonna
permits
pick Mark Wetzel just because I
agree
know him better.
Yep.
But we can't agree with what Mark Wetzel is saying, and we want to make sure we meet there. Isn't that when we don't approve the process? Like when we're going forward with the amendment process?
Yeah, if you don't approve the amendment, you go back to the original plan.
That's how legally it works out, thank you. So,
Which
would your condition...
sooner or later is gonna hit, expiring, because it won't no longer be valid.
Okay, so would your condition saying we have to meet the requirements of the different,
We're gonna want to do
Heads.
that anyway, no matter what we do, whether it's new or old. We're gonna request the applicant and the applicant's representative comply with whatever the DPW and the police department and the fire
Right.
department say,
and
unless
if
we
they
decide to change it.
I
can't,
got you.
then
Okay.
what happens?
Would you like to respond to that?
No, I think that the question, I think as Mr. Diskin was bringing forward was, a minor change, you don't notify abutters, but a substantial change does. Mr. Curtin's okay with notifying abutters.
Mr. Curtin has offered to notify butters, I like that.
So as long as, I guess then the question which we're still seeing is, we have an approved plan, we're asking for major revisions, but the major revisions are gonna be reviewed by the department heads under the zoning bylaw that was in place when it was originally approved. So that's what the question comes down to, right? Does that make sense?
Well, I'm gonna I stick with my motion that the amendment would include the fact that the zoning that was in place at the time of the approval is the benchmark for what they use for the amendment.
Would you like to make that motion?
I think I've made it thoroughly. It's
So
waiting
we
for a
have a
second.
motion. I'm going to paraphrase. A motion to be made, a motion for an amendment, to approve an amendment.
With conditions.
And I'm just going to tick them off, but butter notification, input from the department heads in town,
Read the requirements.
All department heads.
all department heads in town, and compliant with the zoning.
If the prior zoning still controls.
Prior, the zoning for which the original
Right, yes.
approval was
Right.
done.
Yes.
Landscape drawings,
Landscape, yeah.
And including the landscape drawings, thank you.
full landscape drawings.
Okay.
Top of that, is we'll make it really good. Architectural drawings with elevations, plans and elevations. And then we have I think we've got all the data that we need, and if the abutters agree and the professionals in town agree, then it's my theory.
I have a motion, do I have a second? The chair will second the motion. Any further discussion?
Yes, we've tossed around two words here, requirements and recommendations of department heads.
Yep.
Which is it? Are they required or are they recommended?
As I see it, what's going to happen is the professional sort of opponent will be working with our town department heads to come up with solutions. And we will find out what they can come up with. Is that a fair way of stating it?
They are actually, in essence, recommendations.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So in the motion, it's not requirements as originally stated, it's recommendations?
It's really the better word, correct word.
Would you like to amend your motion to recommendations?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Again, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. King. Moved and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
There are 2 ayes. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Abstentions?
Yeah, abstain.
Thank you.
It's not a vote.
Ouch. Okay.
It's not a
That
vote.
amendment.
Not approved as an amendment.
Okay.
I think the answer is it's a new plan.
I made my motion already.
I know.
Okay.
Do I, would anyone like to make a motion?
For a new site plan?
I believe that's the other course of action.
Yes, new site plan.
Yes, we make a motion, do we say accept or request?
No, we're
What's the
not.
right word?
Yes, they would need to submit an application. They've submitted an application for a site plan amendment. They would need to submit an application for a full site plan. Right, and I would recommend that that package be put together after we have the department head meeting on the details of the plan as we just discussed. So that, they don't have to do it twice, so to speak.
Okay. So, how do I need to word this here? That's what I'm getting at.
There's no motion needed.
There is no motion needed,
Yeah.
right?
I don't
No, I
Because you
think
didn't
so.
approve the amendment, so
Right.
it's now has to go.
They know they need to submit a full site plan.
Or the old one
application.
stands.
Or the old one stands and the old plan is.
Right.
Yes,
And we
so
will
this
find out
new
from-
with the fifth unit, yeah, that's,
Right.
and then, yeah, so.
Yeah, we will find out from council next week
Thank you.
on whether the old zoning still controls for an amendment.
Thank you.
Question,
Mr. Policeman?
the chair
Yes.
and for Mr. Rochambeau, we've advertised already for the,
For the special permits for the aquifer,
right.
which we probably could hold, because that has to do with the, what was the name of the engineered stormwater thing again?
Toltec.
Toltec. Right. I think the stormwater aspects of this won't change much, and we could start that discussion independently of the site plan.
I don't
Unless,
think, how can you do that?
well,
I don't think so.
yeah, I mean, we've advertised for it, we could just,
That's Neil's opinion.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk to my client. We'll see if we withdraw that application without prejudice
Okay.
Thank you.
or whatever, but we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Thank you.
But
All right,
I think we need to have some consultation on that.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Next on our agenda for this evening is the continued public hearing for proposed definitive subdivision off Shaker Road, 23 lots.
You gotta take a break.
Excuse me, I have a request. I'm going to adjourn for about not adjourn, excuse me. We're going to take a recess for about 5 minutes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we have reached the continued public hearing for the proposed definitive subdivision off Shaker Road, 23 lots. Daniel and Joel Aho.
John?
Good evening. If I didn't show up, you guys would be shocked, right?
I know.
Well, it would be
Planning
on Tuesday night.
I've been waiting for you, John. You snuck in late.
Since last meeting, John Boardman, Places Associates, since last meeting, excuse me, we met with the Department of Public Works, sat down with them and reviewed their comments. We were also able to meet with Joanne from Conservation and Mark, planner, to talk about open space and the disposition of that. We have submitted revised plans that address the comments and concerns of the Department of Public Works, things like water line locations, extent of curbing, type of curbing. We swapped the mailbox to the other side so that it wouldn't be in the way of the snow plows. Moved a street light, and that letter sort of goes through those list item by item. Excuse me, and it's also my understanding, or it sounds like that the approach or goal of the open space is to have it remain in the ownership of the homeowners association with a conservation restriction on it.
That seems to be
Approved by
the direction that's going. So
approved by the planning board, obviously, as to who holds and what the exact form of that CR is at the end.
I know that's going to have to be put together. And if I can, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that was about it. I was going to keep it short and sweet. I know Mr. Wetzel is on vacation this week, so that I'm sure he hasn't taken my plans with him and isn't reviewing them in some warm locale.
He and I discussed it, and if I get my guess right, and I'm not going to tell you where he is, but he's also a skier.
Oh,
so
okay.
my guess is, I hope he went far enough north. I think I get 36 inches.
Wow.
Close to 5 feet.
Basically, I mean, on all the utility stuff and things like that, the DPW gets what they want. So if there's any minor tweaks that need to be made based on the revised plans, we're in agreement that we'll make them. At this point, after sitting down with them, I don't think there's anything substantial that could change, but, and again, there's always something minor that could get adjusted.
Exactly.
But I don't think that should hinder us.
We had a very informative discussion. So that you know what's going on, and I believe you were aware of this.
Yes.
We had Sally Nizer from the Trustees Reservations come and do a quick half-hour presentation on what a conservation restriction is and how it. She touched the tops of the waves, if you will. But it was actually very informative for the board. And I'm going to ask the board to share with you what stuck with them, if you will.
Thank you.
In a second. There's a couple of things that stick with me, and what's funny is that she spoke about these, I actually know of them because I assume they were in every conservation restriction. Immovable markers. So future generations.
Those are in the conditions, they were the last one as well.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't remember everything in life.
And actually, I brought to our last meeting a particular marker, pheno markers that we've used on other projects that are successful as a possible option.
Good, great, thanks.
Chair and everyone else, could you clarify for me, is it just the markers that she suggested there'd be some kind of like physical barrier, right? It's so, I want to be clear on which one.
So yes, and we can discuss this. What she said was stone walls are all over the place and they are a great physical barrier. Okay? What I am familiar with in conservation restrictions, and actually saw 2 or 3 of them I worked on, one in Bedford, one in Reading, and that is when the project was done, the 99% phase of construction, the proponent needed to come in and actually either put granite posts in, iron pegs, plaques in the ground, some sort of immovable marker. To ask them to build 20,000 feet of stone wall.
I wasn't asking that.
Yeah.
I wasn't asking that.
So, but I think what she was saying, and maybe other people can jump in on this, but if a stone wall exists and you move the line 5 feet to incorporate the stone wall, that makes sense. Because a stone wall is not going to, except in my front yard, stone walls don't move very often.
I mean, 3 sides already have barriers. I mean, that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and the edge of a pond is a barrier. Okay?
Exactly.
And that pond may rise or fall. We can't, if it falls, we get more space. If it rises, so. Other points that were...
It's not the edge of the pond, though. It goes on the back of the property lines.
Yeah.
But there was another example of not that I'm recommending it, but she mentioned a chain link fence also.
That's what I was wondering.
Oh, actually, what she said was there's a chain link fence around the development. I actually know that development, the one in Millis, and it was built in a quarry, and it's very steep behind the development. I'm sure the chain link fence became a necessary insurance need.
Yes.
A fence was needed,
Yes.
and chain link was what made sense
I've
financially.
had chain link fence put on CRs before, but then there comes an issue of letting deer go back and forth.
Yeah,
So
I
you
know.
have to have them so high and so small to let ground animals go under, and so high so deer don't jump over them, and ends up being a whole fence.
I know.
Just so you know, as far as free fencing
Thank you.
goes,
No, I
that becomes an
appreciate
issue with the
that.
animals crossing
I'm
in
not
and
saying
out.
I'm
And
an
seeing
Border walls.
I'm not
Big
saying I'm
issue these
enthusiast
days.
for chain link fences. I just wanted to be clear on what the obligations are.
Don't
Yeah,
go
so you
there.
have to be so high so deer don't jump over them, to leave a gap so animals can pile under. And
Yes. And I'm going to go on record right now, I'm never going to recommend a galvanized fence.
Me neither.
Chain link fence either. Okay, other input from the trustee, from the
I think it was
trustees'
for solar.
presentation.
Can you look at drawing, oh, this is not the trustee's presentation, but it's related. C4, the grading plan.
Sure.
My plans. That's okay. I'll look up the plan.
You guys can find it or not.
Yeah.
Down in the back, there is actually, he's proposing a 6-foot wooden fence that I see running around. I want to ask him the extent of that. That's all. Right in the back here.
The wooden barrier.
We'd be just below the cul-de-sac bulb.
The wood fence?
Yeah.
That is basically following the edge of the right-of-way easement. It starts right here on this plan and continues to the back berm, as shown on the plan.
Yeah, I see it.
About here to here.
Just to that corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
I stopped it right where the landscape berm starts at the back of lot
And the fence is there because?
8. Give us some separation from the access to the golf course.
Okay. And it looks like you also added some plantings. Did you, I mean, maybe you should go over this.
No, one of the things that had come up was the narrow strips she didn't like. In this case, they have some purposes of trying to provide some separation between the golf course and between the main Shaker Road area. There was some concern that the narrow strip behind lots 1, 2, and 3 would be annexed by the homeowners. So we extended the berm and evergreen plantings behind lots 1, 2, and 3 to make that more clear in the field when you're standing there.
Yep.
If we do put markers in of this type,
Thank you very much.
they are, they stick up 4 inches, and the first pile of lawn clippings covers them up pretty quickly. But if you've got a berm and pine trees that are
And then
showing what's happening.
There's a metal plate on the top of it, so you can find it with a metal detector.
Yeah, these are called pheno markers. We just used them in a project in Concord. They work pretty well. They look like a bound, but they're just about 4 inches of fake stone, I guess it is. And then you drive a metal rod down through the center of it, and then you drive a pipe in that, and it actually puts these fingers out underground that split the rod so that you can't pull it back up. And then the nice thing is they sell caps that you hammer on the top when you're done, and you can have them printed up with any verbiage that you want. And in this case, Concord says no mowing beyond this point. It was to show the edge of
So did Bedford, and so did Reading.
Yeah, so they're effective. I know Conservation indicated also that they have their plaques that they'd like to put along the 100-foot buffer zone that will be to be mounted on some kind of fence post that says this is a wetland area, do not enter. So there'll be multiple layers here of protection, I think.
Okay.
But just to go back where Ken was pointing out, the wooden fence, it says parcel C.
Thank you.
That right of way is the deeded right of way there to the golf course. Is that in the open space?
No, it's in parcel C.
Okay.
So there's a piece of land here that is parcel C.
Yeah.
It runs roughly like this. And if I had a highlighter, it would be doing a whole lot better.
Okay.
And that's where the right-of-way is. And that parcel C is called out to be owned by the homeowners and maintained by the homeowners, and that the right-of-way easement shall remain in effect.
Okay. Yeah, because that would be from the trustees' presentation, a pre-existing violation and otherwise.
Yeah, good point.
Excuse me. So C is right here. And that encompasses that access easement. It encompasses the snow storage. And it also is that fence, which isn't shown on this drawing, but the fence basically runs like that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so A and B become the open space. C remains homeowners association, but not open space. And then there's a parcel D up front where the drainage discharges, which again, excuse me, is homeowners association, but not open space.
Yeah, so that the town would never be responsible for parcel C. The homeowners would have to maintain that gravel road.
Right, and then there's an easement on them so that the town can legally put the snow there and not have neighbors complain.
I see.
When did you submit the final drawings to the DPW?
I submitted them to planning last week. I'm not sure if you sent one over.
I gave them put it straight in the box.
So that's fine.
Friday when they came in, it's just
Yeah, I think he's
mark on
gone for 10
vacation.
days.
Yeah.
So,
Right, but Dan can,
Dan
Dan
can work on
can
it.
grab them, so yeah, I'll have
Yeah.
to shoot him an email.
Dan was in the meeting. It was Mark and Dan and myself. And,
Oh, okay, good.
I'll shoot Dan an email
Dan Allen.
tomorrow, let him know they're here.
Okay.
They're still in their box tomorrow.
If not, let me know. I'll take them over.
They come over it's turnover day, so they'll come over and check
Mark,
them in anyway.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
did you have any kind of a staff report for this update?
no, since I received the update after the
Okay.
thing. I guess, the applicant has granted an extension to February 25th in which to act on the plan, and it's my understanding that the planning board is ready to do that. I think so. Both Heather and I have started the decision, which would have the general and special conditions in it, so.
Yeah, I got most of that drafted.
Yep, so that would be for the February 25th meeting, unless there's something that comes up that's, that changes the landscape, so to
Yeah,
speak.
and if it does, we can go into March.
Yeah,
I'm not going to hold your
And I
feet to the
think
fire
if
on a date.
If I recall from the last decision we wrote, we did put in there, if there's any outstanding items from the DPW, that the plans would change and come back to the board. That was in the decision. So if it does happen, it is allowed in the decision.
Fantastic.
And inevitably, once they start construction, something changes slightly, and that'll all show up on the as-built at the end. So, no plan is ever completely
Hold
done.
that for now, okay?
Okay.
this is, we don't have to deal with this till we deal with the decision, right?
This is correct.
Perfect, that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. That's it, I'm done.
Exactly. Other questions for Mr. Warren? I would like to talk about the
letter.
Yes.
I don't have any-
So, something, on January 14th, Mr. Curtis was here. And, we have been, I don't know, this is a draft letter that we've been working on. Do we have a copy that we can show up there?
Yes.
Please. So, Mr. Curtis brought a couple, I'm sorry. Mr. Curtis brought to the board a couple of interesting points. And so we have, I'm asking the board if you would like to send Mr. Curtis back a letter. And this is the draft. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Fred Curtis, do you mind if I read it, Mr. Clark?
You can do it.
Thank you very much.
Go right ahead.
Fred Curtis Jr., President and CEO of Shaky Hills Golf Country Club, 146 Shaker Road, Harvard, Mass. 01451. Dear Mr. Curtis, on behalf of the Air Planning Board, I'm ready to acknowledge receipt of the letter dated January 14th, 2020, that you read and hand-delivered to the board at the January 14th, 2020 Planning Board open meeting. I would like to inform you that the Air Planning Board recognizes your concerns and in addition received a final report and presentation from the traffic consultant for the project, Jeffrey Santa Cruz, PE of Weston and Sampson, at our meeting of January 28th. The Air Planning Board will continue to review any safety issues and environmental issues involved in the potential subdivision of land adjoining your golf course before making a final decision on the project. Please keep in mind the proposed project on the golf course clubhouse are in a residential zone. And although your letter states that the potential new subdivision inserts a cul-de-sac style neighborhood along both sides of a wall established 30 years. Both sides of a well-established, per end, 30 years close per end commercial truck roadway, we are researching in an attempt to determine if a roadway exists or an easement through an existing residential lot or lots. Attached with this letter are the following, and we'll show you these in a moment. Air Planning Board decision to Woodland Company dated October 19th, 1989, and pictures from the approved site plans on record dated October 19th, 89. The attached documents outline the permission granted in the decisions, and per the plans filed, for traffic on the easement from Shaker Road into the golf course. The decision is for emergency vehicles and road maintenance only. In addition, approvals were granted from the Air Board of Appeals with similar language regarding the easement from Shaker Road. The golf course has been using this easement for deliveries for 30 years per your letter. Please furnish any documentation to the board that you have that grants the golf course permission or modifies the decision of the Air Planning Board from October 19th, 1989, or Air Board of Appeals from September 21st, 1989. We look forward to receiving your response as soon as possible. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact the Planning Board. Regards. And the attachments, thanks, Mark. So, the reason for this is we've done a lot of work on this property. And I was a little bit, I think some of us were a little bit surprised to find out that we had a butter who was at one point seemingly perfectly happy with it. And then came to us and said he wanted it to go away for safety reasons. So we dug in again. And going through the different departments in town, and once again I have to thank Mr. Diskin for doing this. PDFs take a long time.
Takes
Yes, they do.
So we'll be seeing 3 PDFs. One of them is the actual decision from, first things first, this just points out that I have pictures of the plans. I don't have a full set of plans in front of us, and these are truly blueprints. So that just says October 19th, 1989. That's the highlighted line there. Oh,
Whoops.
there we go.
That was too far, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Can we use the mouse?
Maybe.
Well, anyway, stop right there. But what you'll see is,
All right.
what the arrow is pointing out is something that says gravel emergency access, which we assume to be the easement. And the other one in the middle had a note written on the plans that
I'm gonna go back and then.
we'll find it. And the third one had on the plans a note that states that the easement is for emergency vehicle use only. So, in the interest of being,
If you go
having
to
all the information we
previous,
need.
it might, whoops.
Yeah. Just can't reach it.
Hold
though.
on, hold
Yeah.
on, it's going weird, but.
There we go.
There we go. So the note says, I'm sorry, it's site conditions, it refers to the conditions that are on file with, and I think I have the conditions also. Did I send them to you?
Yeah. You can tell me what
Go to next,
Yes, sir.
And one more.
and one more.
There is no more.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I don't
Go
think
back
there
to
was.
files?
Yeah.
Where would
Oh,
you
the
like to go?
conditions, I don't know if you sent the conditions
I
to me.
did.
Yeah, you
Did
did,
you?
I have it right here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's the woodland
No, that's
decision
not
there.
it.
May I have them, please? I'll just tell you what I'll do next.
Oh, wait, here it is, decision.
Just 'cause.
It would really surprise me if I didn't bring it. So
Okay.
really, what we're doing,
That's
and I draw your attention to, I believe it's the second page.
Yes, sir.
Bottom of page 4, I believe.
For mouse movement.
I'm probably looking at it again.
It's at the top, it's up in the, right there,
Right here?
number 2.
Number 2, 1, 2. There we go.
A gate will be installed so as to prohibit access from Route 2A, Littleton Road. The easement from Shaker Road shall only be used for emergency and maintenance of the road. So we're asking Mr. Curtis to provide anything that he might have. I don't know that we'll ever get anything about any changes to the permitted use of that road. And I just want to let the board, that access way, the easement, I just want to let the board know about that.
Okay. Thank you.
So, with the board's permission, I would like to ask Mark to send him this letter.
Do you need a motion?
Yes, please.
I make a motion, that we- God bless you, that we submit the letter to Fred Curtis as composed and presented us today, February 11th.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
One
Yes.
point in that second highlight, in addition, approvals were granted from the Airport of Appeals with similar language. Can we also put the September 21, 89 date there?
Please do.
I have granted
Yes.
September 21, 1989.
By all means, ask, yes.
Yes, in the first page, at the very bottom, the golf course has been using this easement for deliveries for 30 years per your letter. Please furnish any documentation to the board that you have to grant the golf course permission. Did you want to say, is there a phrase that goes after that? Permission to use for emergency or maintenance, or permission to use beyond emergency or maintenance? I mean, what do we look, permission for what?
I'm sorry, I
Any
was
permission?
inferring any change in what was permitted back in 1989. So we might, I might want to say, granting any changes,
Yes, please.
okay?
Yes.
I mean, honestly, I penned this, I was not verbose enough.
No.
Mr. Diskin helped us out with that, and actually, Mr. Archambault had a sentence to put in there also, softening it, but making it more palatable. I don't disagree with the sentence, I couldn't find your email. So, I would ask that the board approve a letter that is substantially the same as this to send to Mr. Curtis, and I would ask if we could send it to him, return receipt.
Let's see.
Thank you.
Do we need a vote?
That would be the motion. I'm sorry, I modified.
So you modified the motion?
Please
Okay, so I want to resubmit my motion. So I motion to move that we accept the letter with the changes as discussed and present to the board February 11th, 2020 to Mr. Fred Curtis.
Seconded.
And we'll send it, we'll send it return receipt.
And send it
Yes,
to him.
all right.
Thank you. I don't want to put him in a situation where he has to go get it, I just want a return receipt.
Okay.
Okay? Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Anything else we have on this topic at this point?
Thank you, Ken.
Not that I have.
Okay. Any questions from the folks in the room? Yes?
Actually, a comment.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name.
Daniel Tracy, Shaker Road in Harvard.
Thank you very much.
So, I was here at the beginning of the meeting, very happy to see, Mr. Chairman, your presentation of the Mass Audubon report on losing ground. And, I do applaud this board and the Conservation Committee for all of the things that were cited in that 2020 report about progress that the city of Ayer has made in protecting natural land against development. But I want to make a couple of points. One is that Ayer is now number 2 in Massachusetts in terms of the highest rate of development from the new report, as compared to number 1 of all the towns in Massachusetts in the previous 5-year report. And my feeling, based on some of the comments that you just made about the traffic situation or the use of the commercial roadway or easement to duplicate as a driveway to a subdivision, has been a red flag in my view from the beginning. Other red flags have been just the encroachment on the Shaker Mill Pond and the Bennett's Brook, the utilities going underneath these wetlands, the deforestation to put in the development in this small piece of land, but still a significant deforestation and impact on climate change. But and all the runoff into the wetlands, regardless of all the drainage proposals to mitigate that. This is on a grade, and there is going to be stuff going into that wetlands over the years. So I'm worried about the impact of this subdivision on the wetlands, impact on loss of wildlife habitats due to deforestation. And I attended the Mass Audubon meetings a few weeks ago where they were talking about this, and they actually cited Ayer as the exemplary township in Massachusetts that's really put the brakes on the problems that elevated you guys to number 1 5 years ago. But this development, as well as the previous Aho development across Mill Pond on 2A, really seemed to me as a step backward. It is, to me, a black eye for Ayer if you go ahead and approve this plan. Notwithstanding, the other issues of the traffic at that intersection, the impact of traffic on Shaker Road, all the things that I mentioned, it's just, I think it was an ill-conceived project in the beginning, and I don't know what influence you have, or maybe it's a town meeting thing, but given that you're still number 2 in land use loss, losing ground due to development, why not put a moratorium on development projects even beginning in areas where you have to impact wetlands and forest areas. The earlier ones that you discussed on Main Street and so forth, fine, that's not the same kind of development that we're talking about here, but this land was open space to anybody who wanted to enjoy the Shaker Mill Pond, and as the trustee said, you've got a sliver of land, very narrow piece of land here for the conservation restriction. It's kind of going against everything that would protect this area as a natural habitat, a natural piece of land. So I just wanted to make those comments for your consideration and your final decision, be it at the next meeting or thereafter.
Thank you. May I ask, have you been to the Conservation Commission meetings about this project?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes, I have.
So they've heard your concerns?
Yeah, I didn't voice these exact concerns, but I did talk about the impact on wetlands and so forth. And, you know, they argued that, you know, there are pluses and minuses, that having the open space component of this proposal is a real plus for the town. I see it differently, and I said so at previous meetings. But
Thank you. Any other concerns to be addressed from the board?
I just want to make an observation. I appreciate your comments, but I think that short of a moratorium, the very fact that we've spent 7 months reviewing, working, massaging, and going through this project is evidence of our commitment and concern and sensitivity in the environmental issues. That's it.
yeah, if I could respond to that, as I said at the beginning, I applaud this board's efforts, and I certainly, having attended most of the meetings in that 7-month period, you know, I've seen all of the diligence that you've done, and I realize that there's not much with your mandate that you can do to block something like this, rather than put questions and restrictions on proposed activities. So my comments,
Thank you.
were not intended to
I don't think your
degrade
comments.
what you have already done.
Thank you.
I make the motion, we continue to the February 25th hearing.
Seconded.
February 25th?
Oh, excuse me, I thought it was February 25th.
25th.
Yes, I'm sorry, February. I totally jumped. I totally, guys, sorry.
It's still in January or in March?
I'm already in March in my business. I already have a kickoff date in mind. So,
I was doing Christmas in my old job.
yeah, so thank you, yes. Continuation. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did I get a second on that one?
I seconded it.
Thank you, okay. Moving second, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye, thank you very much.
And Mark, as we approach that date, if you think you're going to need one more meeting
Yeah, I'll
for
let
an
you know.
extension, let me know.
Yeah,
I'll file the paperwork
I'll
over.
talk to Dan and I'll look at his comments and look at the plan.
You interested in the copy of the letter we sent out to Mr. Curtis?
Of course.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next.
I gotta put my glasses on to
Okay.
read. Okay,
I couldn't find a card in the truck.
that's okay, thank you. On our agenda next, we have town planner update,
Okay.
announcements.
All right, my update consists of mainly bringing to your attention the draft subdivision regulations that are, I think, now put together enough that we can, review these in earnest. I don't know if we want to start going through them in detail right now, but what I would ask is that you look at these with an eye towards consistency, typographical errors, and if there's other parts of the bylaw or regulations that we have that may jump to your head that, there's something that's a conflict. Ken, Dan and I have reviewed this extensively. We've gotten comments from Wetzel that we've addressed in here. I also had a planning friend give me some feedback on that too, with the, especially with the surety aspect of it in the end. So I guess I would request the planning board over the next week and a half, to review these with an eye towards, what I just said, inconsistencies or whatever. They're a little bit long, they're certainly much longer than our existing subdivision regs, but we think, that's a plus. There's a lot of detail and specifications, construction specifications in there. One thing I will bring to your attention is that we decided to put the actual construction standards for when a road is constructed in the back as an appendix, because DPW intends to have these construction standards in a manual that they're going to prepare. So that, I think is a better way to handle that aspect of it.
One point of clarification is the subdivision regulations are asking us to review for the next week and a half. When did that land in our email? Is that from a few days ago or just sent today?
The one I just did today, I apologize
That's
for
all I
that.
wanted.
I was going through my 50-something emails that I had gotten in the last week, because that's literally what I've gotten. And I found it, and I was like, oh, I was supposed to send this. And I apologize, that's on me. Between everything going East Main and everything, I literally got lost in
The intent was.
literally in the
No, I
4
understand.
days.
I understand.
Just got lost.
Right, but, you know, I know we have a lot on our plate for the next meeting, potentially the decision on the subdivision, but I think, you know, we can devote at least a half an hour towards reviewing these with an eye towards having a public hearing as soon as possible. And I would, you know, you saw the list of projects that are coming our way in the next few months. One is a very large subdivision, so it'd be great to have these in place for that, if possible.
And as part of these being adopted, Mark asked me to review our rules and regs. There are some changes to the rules and regs that need to go along with the adoption of these as well, and we'd hold the hearing at the same time.
Right.
So we'd basically adopt these and then make those changes so everything is
Yes.
uniform.
Yeah,
And I'm going
As you
to
know.
jump in at that point now, and I'm going to make a request. And that is, I love to speak informally to people about their projects, but we're too busy.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask that procedurally, if somebody wants to have an informal conversation with us, they have to have a set of plans submitted to our department heads. I am willing to talk to anybody over a cup of coffee. We all are willing to be available if needed.
What's that got to do with subdivision regulations?
No, I'm sorry, but you know what I'm saying. But you know, the informal we had tonight was very informative. I think it's important that we move the new zoning forward, and it was important that we all heard that. Okay, but
I'll make a comment when you're done.
I am very concerned about the planning board saying to somebody, paint it blue, as an example, and then when they come back to us, it's the wrong color blue. We are not charged with making financial decisions for the proponents.
right.
Enough said?
I wanted to follow up on your comment.
Go ahead.
First of all, I want to go back to
Let's work that into our regulations somewhere.
I want to go back to Mark's subdivision stuff and thank
No one
Mark.
did anything wrong, it's just let's get that done.
I think we should mention that the gentleman's name, Glenn Garber,
Yes.
who was the gentleman we worked with on the final throes of that regulation.
Yes.
And who helped us tweak the location of sections within the regulation
Right.
for clarity. So we had a very large 70-some odd pages, and we brought it down, but his input as a professional planner, as a professor teaching, was very, very helpful to me. And I was appreciative of what he did. And so that helped us a lot to get to that, where we
Yes,
are right now.
yes.
But the point is valid, that we want to get this done before a big subdivision comes in here.
Right,
And-
yes.
and
Yes.
right there.
So my statement on that is, I realize that maybe, they were a little bit long, and that's because some of the source material that we use as models were longer versions of these. So I think, let's not make the perfect the enemy of the good, so to speak, that's saying. I think we have something good here, but let's review for inconsistencies and that sort of thing, and consistency with the other regs that we have. And I think if we're good to go, we can adopt these, as soon as possible. We'd have to have a public hearing.
Right, but I recommend that we think towards that public hearing, like
Post a hearing.
the first meeting in March.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Shoot for that, and
Yeah.
advertise accordingly.
Nothing like
Yes.
nothing like lighting a fire under us.
Right.
First meeting for the first
Right,
meeting in
that's
March.
right.
That'd be great. And I'm smiling because what happened with OSRD, we had a first one that was a test for it. What's happening with form-based, we've got a test
Always
for
will.
it. Right.
Always will.
I'm curious which one's going to test this, but you know what? We'll work through it.
Of course
There'll be a
something will.
good application that I'll get to once they're adopted too. hopefully.
Fantastic.
I wanted to make a comment on your,
Please do.
people coming in for a, what do we call it, preliminary discussion, informal discussion.
Informal discussion.
Yeah, I want to too, so you go first, but I have one too.
From my small observation, and you could see it right here happen, was there was people come into town hall to talk to professionals.
Yes,
Those professionals are our representatives in essence.
yes.
But during that discussion, there could be some misunderstanding as to how regulations are interpreted.
Yes.
So the idea would be to maybe the reverse, I don't know, come to the plan, whatever. But in this particular case, the gentleman actually came in and showed us a set of drawings, and he said this is what was the plan, but it was never the plan. Charlie never approved that drawing, it never got a permit. The only plan that was approved was the site plan.
Correct, this is
So
why.
I'm thinking that there's a lot of things going on, maybe that we should have jurisdiction over that we haven't had jurisdiction over. Just a comment.
Yep, thank you. And thank you, yes, Mr. France.
I just want to observe that Mark, Ken, I don't know who else went to this OSRD event the other day in Harvard, and we heard a presentation from probably the leading expert in Massachusetts on OSRD, this Randall Arendt. And one of the things he adamantly suggested was that, it's a good idea for planning boards to look at a preliminary sketch or two before before the so-called preliminary plan, because he says, in effect, with all the engineering that goes into a preliminary plan, it is a plan.
Yeah.
It is the plan.
Yeah, we don't want to lose that. That was a.
And I thought that was a pretty important insight, because what happens at the drawing stage is that we can make we can have large global input on the actual shape of the OSRD and say, no, that's not the valuable open space we want. We want the valuable open space over here. And at that stage, at the drawing stage, it's so much easier than getting a preliminary plan with engineering and saying, no, let's redo the whole shape.
Right.
I just want that noted.
Hence the need, and Joanne is very good about this, emphasizing the importance of the conservation analysis as a first step, because everybody always draws the lot lines and the roads first.
That was something that.
That's what everybody does.
That's right.
Trying to retrain them.
So I did say department heads, and I'm sorry, Mark, you're not the department head, and neither is Joanne. But I would assume that it would go across their desks.
Well, we are.
I thought it was
Because Joanne's gone.
Excuse me. Huh?
Okay, well,
I thought he was.
technically she is.
Yeah, I'm having fun at 8:30 at night. Wow. I'm like.
All right, I took no offense.
So really what it comes down to is this, and I'm not arguing your point, Jonathan. I think it's a very valid point. I don't know what the middle ground is. Okay. Some people don't like spending money on plans and surveyors. Some people don't like spending money elsewhere on stamps and envelopes. That's what's brought them here. Get a little farther along in your thinking. Get a little farther along in your building a financial model for what a property can do. It's not a difficult thing. Coming to us and asking a question. I mean, I honestly did the math on that thing, and I saw what Mr. Diskin found out was able to do with a piece of paper, and we talked about it on the phone. It's another building in front of the neighbor's eyes.
Of course.
To me, that's a substantial change, to use that as an example. Okay? I've spoken with each of you individually. I'll be very careful to say it over the last week, over the last couple of days about the form-based code. This may require us to have an open mind at this point in time.
I think so.
So there's wins in each places. However, I worry about, as I said earlier, putting the cart before the horse. So we have to be careful how we do that. And that's why I would ask that, as a general rule of thumb, if they're far enough along to present it to our department heads, they've thought through it it's gone through the steps it needs to be very close to becoming a plan, A or B. I do not want to be sitting here and saying, I like C, what do you like, B,
No,
you
of
like
course
A.
not.
And that's not the role of planning board,
No, but I think that when,
as I see it.
There's the exception to the rule is what Jonathan talked about when we went to this
Yes.
meeting last week. And that's OSRD,
Yes.
which we have a firm set of regulations for. So that one thing we found out, and I was hoping Sally would mention it tonight, but she didn't, because when I talked to her, I talked about this. one of the reasons that you shouldn't get strips of land like that is with the conservation analysis. So because of the fact that we have many plan unit developments, cluster developments, the old-fashioned stuff that are replaced, don't have the conservation analysis paragraph in front of it first. That's where we have the opportunity to say, okay, this is the stuff we want to preserve and work it out. But at the same time as that, to save the applicant money, actually,
Yes.
and make it easier for us, they can now with the yield plan in place, we've actually changed the dynamics, but the conservation conservation analysis and the yield plan, they should be able to come in with a concept plan without drawing all the topographies and whatnot and everything. It's looking to get like 14 units, we think we should want to put them here, we can say, let's work them out and put them here. Then do your full engineering, and everybody makes out that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make an assumption that most of the engineers coming to us are using GIS based, and they're using software that's allowing them to do this very, very quickly. And guys, I can tell you what it costs to cut a piece of property by going on a computer and drawing lines.
Right.
Based on production rates.
Excavation software and stuff like that.
There's all kinds of stuff out there now. As Mr. Nasser was saying, used to do it with a 100-foot rule and a compass and stuff. Yeah, no, I can go to a site with software and I can tag something and say, and send a crew a note. And I know when they show up, it'll exactly be what I want it to be. And that's like a couple bucks a month license. I'm really gotten there. So
Mr.
Yeah,
Chair,
go ahead.
may I just want to, build on these two statements. That the idea that I get it with OSRD that benefits from having some kind of, as Alan likes to do, time with crayons, right? And that's part of the regulation. It's part of the rules that within that you have to draw an open space. We saw we have new regulations. We have that one, which the board's going through. We have FB, the form-based code. This is going to be a challenge for for all of us to go through form-based code, and therefore I find it helpful to begin to get the wheels in motion by Mr. Gardner's proposal, or just a proposal, his discussion. A subdivision, right? This is going to be new, so I would be a proponent of a mechanism that allows for a lightweight, some cost, right? Because you don't want people coming in here free and being a free-for-all, wasting everybody's time. But but if there is a lightweight proposal, so that we can begin to have these discussions, because you want these are things we want to encourage. We want to get form-based code. We want to preserve some open space. And I don't want to err on the side that then turns those interested parties away. Right? It's these people who want to invest in this town according to our master plan. I think we need a mechanism that moves us all down that path.
And I think that's very, very succinctly put. Again, not as an argument, but as an observation. Form-based code with a variance, is it an amendment or a new plan? We were actually being asked to make to ultimately do a straw vote. Okay? There's an election coming. The components of the board may change. It's not up to us to put the future board in a bind. Our regulations are very clear. These are professionals. Mark is here, Alan is here. Other people who work in the land use committee here. That includes Mr. Wetzel and other people. So we do have a lot of work to do. I don't want to put more on their shoulders, but their input. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Before I saw Dan's DPW comments about the turning lane into those parking spaces, I mean, who's ever driven a vehicle that has to be stopped and started twice to get into any parking space out there? Because the turning radius in the vehicle isn't very good. I do it all day long. When a fire chief says, we can't fight a fire in that building, he's not thinking about the building, he's thinking about the safety of his crews. So that's how I see it. So and that's my personal view. So those are things that I find, inviolate, if you will. And I'm willing to be convinced. If something of great interest comes to you, Mark, by all means, send an email. One of us will see it, and we do communicate outside of here, and that's a great way to do it also. You have my permission to give my phone number to almost any resident in town, and I'm more than happy to talk to them. Or have them call me with a phone number, or you can call me with a phone number, and I'll call them back. And if somebody else on the board is more appropriate to it, I'll call you and say, hey, do you want to have a cup of coffee with this person to talk about it? There's great opportunities here. Go ahead.
I just want to go, I don't know if it's appropriate, it was just a discussion, so it doesn't matter. But the thing that, I had no idea what Mr. Gardner was going to come in with tonight. I don't know if anyone else had seen, I hadn't seen any of it, so I didn't know.
I hadn't seen it. I was aware, he did call me and we talked about it.
Right, but I thought the comparison between 0 parking and I think maybe 6 parking spaces was not his strong case. It should have been, what can I build on this lot if I have to have 22 parking spaces versus what I want to do?
A parking garage.
You can build a parking garage about it, but that's where the real conversation is.
Yes.
And whether that lot takes that or not, I don't know, but.
Yeah, I think with Mr.
But going to 1, if we have a discussion and we decide to amend to go to 1, we haven't accomplished anything. It still requires 15 parking spaces.
I unfortunately, and I think we're all thinking this, that the thinking on that proposal, should it come to a plan we're looking at, is going to require forgiveness of our bylaw. One way or the other. Variance, waiver, whatever it is.
It's going to have to go to the ZBA.
So
maybe, whatever.
So, but that's again, crystal ball going on.
I'll probably just close it.
But anyway, Mark, do you have anything else under new business? Anybody have any new business?
That was basically new business.
The only new business I was going to add is I was going to mention what the meeting we went to on the open space OSID in Harvard the other night. And OSID, the reason for this meeting was to bring in the expert from around the country in to have an open meeting with the citizens and other planners and people that have similar interests, but ultimately to try to pass an OSID bylaw in the town of Harvard. And that's what they're working on. But the things that were evident were the fact that our bylaw it hit like 9 out of 10 of the items that he was saying was critical. And not the least of which, actually the most important of which, as he emphasized, is the OSID has to be has a right to having value. As long as you put a special permit requirement on it,
it's dead.
It's not going to help anybody.
That's right.
Exactly.
Most of what we heard the other night, we were already privy to and we understood it, and I thought that was pretty good.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again.
No, we worked on it pretty hard.
Yeah. And I wasn't kidding about the acknowledgement from Audubon. These things are, they change quickly. But that really was something that warmed my heart.
Yeah.
Well, now that I heard from
and now that we're number 2, 100.
Now that I heard from a butter about the fact that he attended that conference, I'm going to go on their website and find if their conference is up on video.
Oh, right.
Or some kind of PowerPoint or something. I want to see that meeting that was discussed here.
What's interesting is in the last couple of weeks, I got invited to 2 different conferences. One was Appalachian Mountain Club, the other one was the Audubon Society.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And I'm in an argument with the Audubon Society. We think it's a purple finch. They think it's a house finch. We've decided to go separate ways. Anything else?
Meeting minutes.
Yes, thank you. I was going to get to but under new and old. Jonathan, thank you so much for circulating the corrections.
Oh, yes, thank you. I'm so sorry about all those.
No, that's all right. No. That's
I appreciate
cool.
it.
So, are there any other corrections on it? Or?
I would accept a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes for January 28th as amended and submitted
Yeah,
2020.
what you have here.
Oh, we have them
Yeah, we have
as
them.
submitted here, yep.
Yeah. So they're as written because I've already.
As written.
submitted. Yeah.
Oh, thank
Do
you.
we have a second?
Second.
Any, moved and seconded, any further discussion? Excuse me for 1 second, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure, after our conversation, Mr. Diskin, about the
That's fine.
unanimous vote to approve the negative. Yeah, yes, it's correct in here. Yeah, okay, great, thank you. I'm sorry, moved and seconded, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. I believe that brings us to the end of our agenda.
All right, who has the approved meeting minutes?
Somebody, it says,
Yeah,
someone's doesn't say draft at
No,
the top.
someone says, I don't know where they went.
Nancy
yours?
Thank you.
What about that packet you gave, was it at the back of the subdivision regulations?
I got it?
No,
No.
No, I had
yeah,
a
but your
couple.
front, but his front page doesn't say draft, only his second page says draft.
No, I know this is for a fact this is draft because this is what my notes on. My notes
Oh,
on.
where did they go?
Hold it.
Maybe you guys didn't
There's a
take-
purple paper clip.
Here it is, there it is, there it is.
Thank you very much.
You want to sign that?
I do a colored one so I can find it.
It accidentally went to me.
I accidentally did it for you. I was upstairs doing the,
Does the
Thank you,
future,
everybody.
does this portend to the future, Mr. Kranz?
What does?
Future. That you'll be signing it in the, today is the 11th?
and then. Already here.
Wait, this is
Site plan approval for the, parking garage. The parking lot.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Who seconded the meeting minutes? I'm sorry, I missed that. Thank you.
Oh, I forget.
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Minutes are signed. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.